Today, we're going to go over how to produce your own benefit estimates and how to read them. Um, there's a powerful tool out there called Member Self-Service. And at the end of this presentation, I'm going to briefly go through that. We really want to encourage folks to use the power that's at their own fingertips and go out there and run your estimates any time of the night or day, weekends, etc. We're always happy to send you an estimate, but really, folks, you're going to get the same data that we're pulling. So, drive your own bus if you can. So here we go. First section, we're going to break our benefit estimates into sections. Really important stuff here. This is how, these are some things that we look at when we're calculating benefits. Last day of employment. Now you know that. So you would let us know if you're retiring, if we're going to run your estimate, or more importantly, if you go do your own. Last contributions. Now this seems a little weird, perhaps a bit wily, but about 40% of our folks are state employees. The other 60% are political subdivisions. State employees are always paid the first of the month for the previous month's wages. Now, in that case, for example, we'd say February 28th is your last day, your last paycheck is March 1, and your retirement date is March 1. Political subdivisions can be a little bit weird because not the people that work there, just the subdivision. Because contributions may be paid in arrears. They may be reported by your payroll check date or by your pay period. So why that's important to us here at PERS and to you when running your estimate is that that particular date indicates when your termination date is. So let me give you an example. Let's say that I work for a political subdivision. My last day is February 28th, but I'm not going to get my last paycheck until a couple weeks into March. And my organization reports by paycheck date. So, I whoop it up and have a big retirement party on February 28th, and I pack up my office and I vamoose. But in all reality, in our retirement system, your termination date is that last paycheck date because that's how your organization reports. Therefore, your termination date is mid-March and your retirement date with ND PERS is April. More really important stuff. Again, retirement date, it's always the first day of the month. You can leave at any time that you and your employer agree that you're leaving. But from our perspective, your retirement date will always be the first of the month. Your account balance, that is your current account balance. So if you ran an estimate today for future dates, your account balance is a real number. That's how much you have in that account today. It's going to continue to increase as you continue to work because we're going to put more contributions in there, and it's also earning some interest. Now, when you retire, that account balance freezes, and we begin paying you out of that account balance. When that's gone, we pay you the rest of your life from the general pool of funds. So really important point here, this is a monthly lifetime benefit. It never runs out. Second part of a benefit estimate will show benefit options. Now, for married folks, they're going to have the 50 and 100% joint and survivor benefits, along with the single life and the term certains. If you're unmarried, you're only going to have a single life and the term certain benefits. This is how we calculate a benefit, guys. And so know when you run estimates, if you're running them far into the future, it might be understated. And the reason why is because we take that middle one, final average salary, as one of the three factors. Because remember, this is a defined benefit plan. It is defined by three factors. Final average salary is typically your highest 36 salaries averaged. So, if I'm making $3,000 a month now and I'm not going to retire for another 10 years, our system is going to think I'm making $3,000 for the next 10 years. So if I were to get a pay increase, it's not going to be realized in that estimate. Now, you do have an option when you run your estimates to put pay increases in there. However, I'm always a little skittish about it because let's say I'm going to get I put in there, I'm going to get 3% every July for the next 10 years, and I don't, then it's going to compound it and it's going to overstate my benefit. Years of service, guys, that is every month that you earn wages, you get a month of service credit. It doesn't matter if you work one day or the full month, you get a full month of service credit. And finally, the benefit multiplier is the third defined benefit factor. Now, when we multiply those, it yields a single life benefit, and that is the highest benefit. But again, you have other options such as joint and survivors. So I'm just going to go back one here and look at the single life benefit. That would be what I could receive for the rest of my life. But if I'm married and I pass away before my spouse, there's no ongoing benefit for him. Yes, if there's anything left in my member account, he'll get that. But frankly, guys, it takes us, 3 to 5 years to blow through that. So that's why we offer joint and survivors to married people. We're looking at your age as the member and your spouse's age, and we're doing an actuarial decrease. So with the 50%, that means that you could take the $39.86. If you pass first, your spouse continues to get one half, 50% of the $39.86. I could take 100% joint and survivor. You can see it's dropping it down some more. But if I die first, my spouse continues to get exactly what I was getting, $38.09. If I take either one of those 50 or 100% joint and survivors, guys, and my spouse passes first, or if we divorce, I'm going to get moved back up to that single life benefit. Term certains. And I can't emphasize enough, whatever you choose as our member is always, always lifetime for you. But here's a scoop with the terms. Let's say I take a 20-year term certain. I can name a spouse, I can name my children, I can name whomever I want. And let's say I draw that for 12 years and I pass. The remaining 8 years, my beneficiary gets that, and then it's done. However, if I take that and I live 30 years, I'm going to get it for 30 years. It's lifetime for me. But my beneficiary gets nothing because it surpassed the term. The beauty of the joint and survivor, if you're married, is that it doesn't matter how long I live. If my spouse is still kicking, he's going to continue to receive a benefit. Okay. So again, actuarially reduced based on our ages, and these are only for married people. Term certains, again, actuarially reduced based on our age. You can name any beneficiary you want. However, if you're married and you name your boyfriend or girlfriend as a term certain, you're going to have your spouse sign off on that beneficiary designation. And so again, whatever you choose, always, always, always lifetime for you, okay? Now, the next section on a benefit estimate has to do with the health credit. Now, folks that are in plans tier or plan tiers 1 and 2 will have a health credit. Folks in our main retirement plan under tier 3 will not have a health credit. Health credit is in addition to your retirement. It's $5 for every year that you've worked. And this is going to seem really counterintuitive, so I really want to bring this to your attention. If I'm married and I take a joint and survivor retirement plan, I get the higher health credit, and that's because I've already taken a reduction up top in retirement. So let's say I take the 100% joint and survivor retirement, the standard health credit, I die first, my spouse continues to get the retirement benefit plus the standard health credit. My spouse passes first or we divorce, I get moved back to the single life retirement, I continue to get the standard health credit. The purpose of these alternate 50 and 100% joint and survivor health credits would be, let's say I'm married and I decide I'm going to take a single life benefit, knowing that if I pass first, there's no ongoing benefit for my spouse. I could choose to take a decrease in my health credit, say this 138. I pass first, no retirement benefit for my spouse, but my spouse gets the health credit. If I chose the 50% health credit, I'd get the 145. If I passed first, no retirement for my spouse, and my spouse would get half of the 145. Okay. And again, just to reiterate, anybody in a Tier 3 plan, that means that you were enrolled in the plan January 2020 or after, you do not have a health credit that goes along with your retirement. Okay. So again, if I'm single, I'm only going to have a standard health credit. I'm not going to have any joint and survivor retirement options or joint and survivor health credit options. If I'm married, I'm going to have the standard. And if I take the joint and survivor retirement, I get the standard health credit. If I choose a single or a term certain benefit, I can still take the standard, but then my spouse gets nothing for retirement, nothing for the health credit. If I take 100% or 50% joint and survivor retirement, then I automatically take the higher health credit, and that goes along with the benefit to my spouse should he or should I predecease him. Okay. Now, really important stuff here, because I mentioned this when we began. You can float your own boat. You can go out and run your own estimates whenever you want. God, I guess you don't need me. But you're going to pull the same data that I'm going to pull. And so the big deal is for you to know when you're leaving employment, or, hypothetically even. And then if you're in a political subdivision, perhaps, when your, how your paycheck is reported to us. Okay. So if you go out to our website, right at the very top, there's a member login. If you click, and for folks that are on some of our insurances, you've probably been out there for open enrollment before. Some of our political subdivisions don't have our health or dental, vision, life, but you still have a retirement plan. So if you don't have this set up, go out and do it. So you're going to go click on there, and then you're going to log in. Once you're in, you're going to get a page that looks like this. You're going to click on benefit estimates. Then it says, what do you want to do? Well, I want to calculate my estimate. You see the second one, you could request an official estimate from NDPERS, but again, I'm going to send you the same stuff that you can do on your own. And then finally, if you've run them previously, you can go out and view some older estimates. They do purge after a certain amount of time, though. Then you're going to get the handy dandy disclaimer, and you're going to click benefit estimate calculator. Then in the drop down, you're going to pick retirement. And then we want to know when your last day of employment is. So let me go back to that. If I'm a state employee, I can use my, my last day of employment is anytime that month, and then my retirement date is the first of the month following. If I'm in a political subdivision, check with your employer to find out how they report your contributions to us, because I could be in a political sub that I get paid the 28th of each month for that month, or I could be where I get 2 paychecks and they're current for that month. It could be that, my last pay period for the last 2 weeks is paid, into the following month. And, your employer knows that. They report this information to us. And so they are able to give you that kind of information. So let's say I'm in a political subdivision and my last day of employment, technically, I'm out the door, is February 28th, but I get my last paycheck March 12th, and those wages are reported for March. That's what I want to know. Then my last day of employment is going to be March 12th with the retirement date of April 1. Then we're going to hit next down here and finally finish. And this is what I'm going to see when I go out to member self-service and run my own stuff. And you can see it's a different format, but it's the same numbers, okay? Same numbers. Now, finally, if I were to compare them side by side, here's my stuff that I would get through member self-service. This is the stuff that ND PERS would run for you. I got to admit, I think ours looks a little prettier, but you know, number-wise, same stuff. So I'm not doing any kind of magical numeration, just as an FYI. So I want to make sure people know that. It's not that we don't want to run them, not that we won't run them, but I just don't want you to think that there's anything that we're pulling that's super duper special. So if you have questions about, gosh, anything PERS related, there's a lot of ways to get in touch with us. You can give us a call, you can go to our website, you can go through member self-service and send us a question that way.